blood, frogs, lice, wild animals, pestilence, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, death of the firstborn. It's a holiday! Hello and welcome to another episode of Off the Vine with Mr. Klein. I'm Mr. Klein. There comes a time every year where we have to drink the wine of oppression, the wine of my people. That's right, it is once again Passover, and I believe that a colleague of mine called kosher for Passover wine disgusting. But yet, we have hope, just like the Israelites in Egypt, because this year we have a kosher for Passover Petit Verdot. And all of the two Petit Verdots I've had, I have loved. So there is a chance that I will love this Petit Verdot. Today we have Shimona Winery's Beyond Petit Verdot. So some of you might be asking, what makes wine kosher? Well, it's not the way you kill the grapes like I originally thought. It's actually the way they pick the grapes. The grapes have to be picked by a Shabbat observant person. So unfortunately, the wine that I made last week, it's not going to be kosher. Also, the entire winemaking process has to be done under strict rabbinical supervision. So while all kosher for Passover wines are kosher wines, not all kosher wines are kosher for Passover. But how do they make kosher for Passover wine? Because you can't use yeast, and that's how they make the alcohol. Let me look that up. Kosher for Passover yeast? But the Exodus, and they left Egypt, and the bread didn't rise, so why we have matzah kosher for Passover yeast? Did they have that the whole time? Why do we waste our time eating matzah if there's kosher for Passover yeast? This holiday makes no sense now, because this is just the wine of oppression. This is bread we eat for fun, apparently. Alright, let's try this thing. So, I'm not really getting the same berry flavors that I usually get when I try a Petit Verdot. It also smells a little more alcoholic. Now, that could be because of two things. One, this is a wine from Israel, and I don't usually have wines from Israel. And maybe it's because they use, kosher for Passover yeast, which I'm still pretty sure is fake. Alright, let's give this a taste. That's interesting. I've heard this grape be described as bitter, but this is actually more sour, almost like olive oil. I enjoy it because it's a Petit Verdot. It still has some of those Petit Verdot notes. They're not as notable as usual, but they're still there, so I still enjoy it. Although, it does taste different, so it's not one of my favorite Petit Verdots. This has been another episode of Off the Vine with Mr. Klein. Now go drink some wine.